It's 3:47 a.m. You don't remember deciding to wake up, but your eyes open anyway. And before your thoughts fully form, your hand is already reaching for your phone. Not because you need anything, but because you already know what you're going to see. The glow hits the ceiling, that familiar loading screen, and then the number appears. Not surprising, not new, just confirmed. You checked it yesterday and the day before that, and somehow that didn't calm you down. It never really does. Somewhere out there are people your age who haven't opened their banking app in weeks. Not because they're careless, but because they don't need to. Money is not something they monitor. It's something that just exists in the background of their life. And that difference, it doesn't show up in lifestyle first. It shows up in sleep.
Level 1. The survival stage. At the beginning, money is not a tool. It's a constant negotiation. You're calculating everything, not in spreadsheets, but in your head, in real time. Can I afford this and still make it to Friday? A grocery trip becomes a strategy session. A repair bill becomes a crisis simulation. One unexpected expense doesn't feel like inconvenience. It feels like collapse. And research has shown something disturbing here. When people are under financial pressure, their cognitive performance drops significantly. Not because they lack intelligence, but because their mind is overloaded. You're solving life while already exhausted by it. And in this stage, you're not making optimal decisions. You're making survivable ones.
Level 2. The first cushion. Then, one day, something changes. You save your first meaningful buffer. It might be $1,000. It might be $3,000. It doesn't matter the number as much as the feeling. For the first time, there is space between you and disaster. You still feel behind, but now you are not unprotected. Of course, reality tests it quickly. A car breaks, a bill arrives, something always arrives. And suddenly, that milestone disappears almost as fast as it came. But something else happens too. You realize something uncomfortable. That small safety net was never meant to solve your life. It was only meant to stop every problem from becoming a catastrophe. Level 3. The stability zone. Now things start to shift. You have real breathing room, maybe a few months of expenses saved. And something strange happens. You stop checking your balance constantly. Not because you stopped caring, but because your nervous system finally relaxes a little. A surprise expense no longer triggers panic. It triggers adjustment. You don't spiral. You respond. This is the first time money stops being an emergency system and starts becoming infrastructure. But there's a catch, because this is also where most people stall. Life gets more comfortable, spending slowly rises, and discipline starts to feel optional again. Not because you failed, but because pressure disappeared. And without pressure, habits quietly drift. Level 4. Comfort with hidden risk. Now, your life looks fine from the outside, maybe even successful. You've got savings, a decent income, a stable routine. But underneath, something dangerous appears. Lifestyle expansion. A better apartment. A nicer car. A few you deserve this decisions that stack quietly over time. And suddenly, progress slows. Not because income stopped growing, but because spending learned how to grow with it. This is the most deceptive stage, because nothing feels wrong, but nothing is accelerating either. And people can stay here for years without realizing they're standing still. Level 5. The first real independence. Eventually, if the pattern breaks, something powerful happens. You build a real buffer. Not just protection from emergencies, but protection from bad decisions. You can walk away from a job if you need to. You can absorb shocks without reshaping your entire life. And for the first time, money gives you something subtle but life-changing. Options. Not luxury, not status. Options. And options change how you show up everywhere. At work, in relationships, in negotiations. You are no longer forced into every outcome. You can choose. Level 6 and beyond. The strange reality of more. Here's what nobody tells you about higher levels of wealth. It stops feeling like achievement and starts feeling like maintenance. At a certain point, your money grows faster than your habits, but your mind doesn't update at the same speed. So even when numbers increase, emotions don't necessarily improve, because comparison never stops recalibrating. Someone will always have more. Something will always feel ahead of you. And this is where many people get caught. Not in lack of money, but in endless redefinition of enough. The hidden truth across every level. Across every stage, from broke to financially free, there's one pattern that never changes. The anxiety doesn't disappear with income. It only changes shape. At low levels, it's survival. At mid levels, it's comparison. At high levels, it's preservation. Different numbers, same nervous system. And that's why financial peace is not just about accumulation. It's about behavior. Because people don't lose financial stability suddenly. They drift away from it slowly. One decision at a time. Final thought. At some point, the goal stops being, how do I get to the next level? And becomes something quieter. How do I stop leaking stability from the level I'm already at? Because wealth isn't just built by earning more. It's built by keeping what you already survived to get. And maybe the real shift doesn't happen at $1 million. Maybe it happens the first night you don't feel the need to check your balance at 3:47 a.m.